Company is ILEG Technology Screens. I want to clear some things up, get this out in the open, so people can understand what's going on, why we have all this conflict back and forth with my company and an individual by the name of Jamie Fernando Gonzalez, including um, individuals that involved in entertaining his acts, and how I should be handling this situation. So I explained to you guys a long time ago. Fernando bumped into us. Fernando bumped into us with the intentions of collecting information from other people for screen paints. At one point, he used to give it away for free. As I showed you in the video, we have proof of that because the video showed him making products for free. Anyway, in this process of him, I guess, searching for products, our products happened to be on the top of the list. We were up there. Of course, you can't go to a company like Goose Green or Fox or some of the other companies that were out there because, again, they're companies. And I guess he figured that we're hobbies. We're a hobby company. Or we just do, it's a hobby for us. So anyway, when he came to our page, our YouTube channel, and requested our products, of course, I said no. I told him at the end of the day that the products that we have here, we sell them. We have a website, show them the website. We have a product that we market and we sell. Because long before Fernando came into that picture, I was given that blessing to be able to make those products. Because I bought this projector. Mind you, I wasn't even in the field of projectors. I was in the computers, and everything I had was monitors. So I went out and I had multiple monitors set up for my whole computer build. So I wasn't really into projectors. I think the last time I saw a projector was a Magnavox and a Sharp, and they were CRTs. I really didn't have much of an interest for something that big and bulky to be sitting in my living room or anywhere else. I just like the monitors much better. I also like the fact that I can use it in a fully lit environment too with monitors. All the projector demonstrations I saw, everybody was trapped in the dark. So I got into projectors because I got a chance to see projectors on a much larger scale from a friend of mine who had several large screens in his home, including one he was actually, I think, playing Gears of War on. That's how I got into Gears. And that's how I got into Xbox 360. That was strictly PC at one point. So I went in and I basically got all the information from him. I didn't know jack about projectors. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Because again, PC guy, monitors only. That's with me at the end of the day. So after seeing this, I wanted one of these projectors because now this is not the CRT Sharp or Magnavox I saw, the huge bulky ottoman. This was a small little sleek machine that could blow up this gigantic image, and I could imagine gaming on a screen that huge would have to be amazing. So I went out and I began the research on projectors, what I need to buy, what type of lumens, what's the resolution, all this stuff. And I had to keep going back and forth to him because he was the one teaching me about how to basically, what projectors to look for. So I ended up with the BenQ MS800. I got to find me another one of those. 600 by 800, 720p SVGA projector. That's what I bought. Got it over at Newegg. Had it shipped in by FedEx. And so when the projector finally got there, I'm thinking I'm going to be getting this magnificent image, same as my high definition monitors could put out. But as I got the projector, I noticed a few things. One, you have to have space, because I didn't know anything about short throw or ultra short throw projectors. Only thing I know about is that particular projector. So I had that particular type of space in order to put a projector in, because the whole wall I was expecting to fill out, I didn't even get that. I got an 80-inch screen. Hey, do you mind? Do you mind? Watch this. This is crazy. Do you mind not sitting there? Thank you. Slowly takes his time dragging across the screen. He knows what he's doing. Anyway, so with that being said, thank you for trying to destroy my train of thought, Taco. I don't appreciate that one. But anyway, yeah, so getting the projector set in the back, I feel like I can get an 80-inch, but that's still far bigger than the screens I already had, what I've had. The TV setup, monitor setup. Now, mind you, I had already sold my monitors that were gone. Used the money to buy the BenQ MS800. And when I turned it on, it was not what I thought it was going to be. I literally thought I was going to get the image that was on the box I'm looking all over the box, I'm looking at the family, I'm looking at the pictures and all that's like, well, I'm gonna get this image, giant, beautiful image. And I got nothing like that. I got no contrast. I'm coming off high definition, good Sony monitors. And I'm going to a white surface in that projector. I was very, very upset. My graphic card did nothing at all. It didn't even function the way it was supposed to do. All the setting, tweaking, all that stuff I did. And my graphic card was absolutely worthless on that whole setup. Now I'm upset because now I don't even want to play on my computer anymore. I really don't. I'm trying to figure out now how to get a monitor back so I can basically get rid of this problem here. I don't want to be bothered with it. So I go back and I talk to my friend. I said, look, man, I'm very upset because, man, I sold my monitors now. I got to figure out how to get another one back. I may have to get a smaller one or something. I can't even play my game system on this. It's like, well, they got some YouTube paint out. It's a great paint. It's been out for a long time. A lot of people make it. So I started going on YouTube. This is places I've never been to before. I just do monitors, PC, monitor, PC. That's it. I go and see all these demonstrations of all these people making great paint. There were so many demonstrations. People had different combinations and different this and different that. And at the time, Goo Screen is the one that reigned supreme in that era because Goo Screen was the paint on screen, the ultimate paint on screen to go to. Goo Screen had a very interesting application process you had to go through. It was really tedious, sorry about that, to do. It was very hard to do. It was very interesting. It was like a lot of painting, a lot of different layers you had to apply, drying time, the way you had to dry it, the way you had to roll it, more of a robot up and down formation, and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, I really don't want to go down that road, and then what they're asking for, and then later on, still wondering how to do this, and then my buddy gave me the idea, YouTube Paint. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do because I'm still thinking at the end of the day, I'm going to get my monitor back because I don't want to go through all this hassle. I just want my monitor back. But I went to a family get-together, and my brother's son had a Goo Screen put in. He painted one in. And we got to talking. I brought it up in a conversation. Oh, I got a screen I painted in. I got a projector and everything. I said, can I see this? He said, come on, I'm going to show it to you. So I go to his place and I see it, and it looks amazing. I'm like, wow. It's a dark gray screen that was painted to his wall. I said, this is paint? This is paint, because I can't get over his paint. I'm used to having a machine. I'm used to having monitors. That's what I'm used to, high performance monitors. I can plug cables and all that stuff into my periphery, all that stuff, that high definition, high frequency monitors, not something you paint onto the wall. I can't process the fact that my high definition monitor is going to be replaced by something you paint on your wall. Like, I can't get over that part. But I'm fascinated by it. So I think, okay, this finally pulled the trigger on what I want to do. Let's go do the screen paint. Because he's got this giant screen, we're watching Transformers, watching all this stuff. It looks amazing. Now, he doesn't have all his lights on, but it's pretty well lit in there. But, he's got it set for the environment. He's explaining to me, like, look, you got to design the environment for the ambient light and for controlled environment. Now I'm learning more stuff because my buddy was teaching about projectors, but he didn't teach me too much about the environment. So now I'm learning from him about the environment, how it has to be lit, how to have lights in there. So at the end of the day, I got a lot of cool stuff in my gaming room. You'll never see it, the lighting in here like this. I need something where I can see the screen, see all my stuff, still get this beautiful image at the same time. And then bit by bit by bit, I go back and I'm thinking back and forth, and I think, you know what, I'm just pull the trigger, let's get it done. Now, mind you, I don't even know what God's going to do. I don't even know what God's plan in this whole situation. And this is way before we ever met anyone on YouTube. My YouTube account was about computers, building, modifications, all that stuff. That's what my YouTube channel used to be about. And vintage toy finds. I just go and find vintage toys to post and stuff like that. So I wasn't even anywhere near in the screen paints. Or I didn't know anything about it. So I get down, finally the day comes, my buddy comes down and says, hey, look, I can take you today. He takes me over to Home Depot. I got the ingredients from my friend. I'm excited. I'm thinking, okay, I'm finally going to get this thing painted in, get it done. Because right now I haven't played my PC in like days. So I'm happy to get back to my PC. And the guy comes back and says, unfortunately, we got some bad news. 2 of the paints that you want, we no longer carry them anymore. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Now we're back to square one. Now we're back to all this hassle. It's a headache now. Now it's a headache. Now I don't want to do it. Now I don't want to be bothered with it anymore. I'm tired of it. I just want my freaking monitors back. I'm on my way walking toward the door. And my mindset, I'm selling that projector. It's a headache. It's a pain in the neck. And I'm just going to go out. I'm going to get myself my monitors back. And I'm going to just leave it alone. Which means if the Lord allowed me to walk out that door, this would have never existed ever. It would have never existed. So before I hit the door, I heard the Lord say to me, this is what I want you to do. And I turned around and I started listening, and he gave me an ingredients. The ingredients to the company called Digital One Crystal Screen Paint. I'm going to put this down on my page. I'm definitely going to put down how all this got started, because I think that's very important. So when I heard the ingredients, I went and started picking out things he told me to pick out. I can't tell you what they are, but he told me to pick these things out, and that's what I did. Now, I'm still mad at them. I'm still a little skeptical. I'm like, Lord, this is going to work. It was something so simple, so basic at the end of the day. Something that, out of all the research that I've done online about these screen paints, how complicated they are to make at the end of the day. This was very, very simple and very basic. And that's how the Lord is at the end of the day. That something could seem to be the most difficult math problem in the world. It's so simple by God, because he's all knowledge. He knows all things. So that's what I did. I made the ingredients. When I first was driving back, the nervousness started kicking in. Here comes Satan. Say at the end of the day, this is not going to work. It's going to be a failure. It's wasting your time. Just buy the monitor. Be done with it. And I'm not paying Satan any mind. I get to my rented room. I go upstairs. I start making the product. I don't even know what to start off with. What measurements or anything. Because again, the measurements I had was for the previous paint. I don't know if it's going to work for this paint. The Lord talks to me again. He said, this is how you're going to put it all together. So I put it all together. I painted on the wall, hit it with the projector, and boom! The first thing I watched was Futurama. The colors when they're in the movie theater. And the colors, everything popped right up the screen. I had the lights on the entire time and didn't realize it. That the lights were on when all this was going on. I dropped that paint roller, and started to cry. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, mind you, still in the back of my mind, I was never thinking about starting a company. Because again, I had a job. I was a programmer. I was basically making money, a little side hustle, programming, fixing machines, cleaning out equipment, stuff like that. I was making some good money, so I wasn't even thinking about getting into this business. So I'm sitting there looking at like, I guess this is mine. So I'm going to make it for myself only for myself, because I don't know anything about selling this stuff. I don't know the first thing about it. So my buddy comes in and he sees the screen. He goes, man, because he's seen the screen before. And he said, wow, you got ripped off, man. Your screen, that's that high power graphic card. Looks like that. He's like, wow, that's trash, man. He has a monitor too. He was a PC guy. He has a monitor at the other end too. So what are you going to do? I said, I have no idea, man. This is messed up. I don't know what to do. Box light can be complete. I thought it was impossible, just like that. I was so mad about it. He was like, well, man, when he came, he said, man, this is a big improvement. You know what you ought to do? You should sell it. And I was like, sell it? What do you mean sell it? So you should just sell it. Go out and sell. People buy this. This is crazy. It's beautiful. He took a picture of it, sent it to his friends. They all have the projection screen setups. Every projection screen setup on YouTube at that time was in a dark environment. Every single one. They were dark environments. No light in there whatsoever. Just a dark environment and a high power projector. The main setup for YouTube was the bedroom. You have a bed, you had your projector over top of you, it would hit your wall, blow your whole entire wall up, lay on your bed, play your games. That's how everything was set up back then. So I got, he said, didn't you get the lights on too? And I looked at that, oh, lights are on. I forgot I had the lights on the entire time. I thought I had to turn them off, and I realized the lights were on. The screen was operating with the lights on. So I said, okay, let's see how this works. So I kept going back to my friends and asking them. They knew way more than I did. And they're teaching me and educating me, and the Lord's guiding me as I go along. And the Lord said, this is what you're going to do. You go to these forum sites, get information from them, see what they're doing, do the opposite of everything they do. They say it takes multiple coats, you take one coat. They said it takes 6 hours to paint a screen, you take 1 hour to paint a screen. This is what you're doing. You're going to do the opposite. You're going to keep posting to these forums. Posting. Next, we're building a website. I built my first website at Vistaprint. My launch date was the date of my birthday. I nervous, don't know what I'm getting myself into. I don't know if it's going to sell. I don't know if anybody's going to want it. You know, all this stuff that I went through, all this nervousness. I'm like, what if no one buys it? What if I put all this time and all this effort into it? There's Satan coming in, all this effort into it, and no one buys it at all, and it just does nothing at all, and I just waste my time on all this. Do you have any idea, like, how many times those thoughts popped up in my head through the process of in this company that maybe it's going to end, it's going to fall apart? This is before I even met these trolls. These trolls came into my life. Didn't know how it was going to be. Come to the Lord to calm it down, relax. I gave you this blessing. This blessing will continue on. It will do as I told you it's going to do. So I continued on with it. Nervous, scared, I continued on with it. And I continued to invest more money into it. As a matter of fact, I remember that I didn't want a loan from a bank. So what I did was, I was a toy collector. The Lord was blessing me to find vintage toys. That's why I said there's hidden treasures all over the world. You don't know where they're at. The Lord knows where they're at. He definitely knows where they're at. And the Lord's pointing me in a direction to find these hidden treasures, these collectible toys that I was selling on eBay. And on eBay, my eBay account blew up. The Lord blessed me. My eBay account blew up. I was a top seller. I was making very good money. But I could have sat there and said, well, no, I'm making more money than the screen paint. Screen paint's not making any money at all yet. But the Lord is like, no, your goal is to take this blessing and use it to fund this blessing. And that's what I did. My toy collection paid for my company. And at one point, I didn't realize that when my first order went through, I remember my first customer. I got the first dollar bill when I first got my first order. My first order that came through, it was an incredible feeling. To know that the hard work and the time and the demonstrations and going to forum sites and all that work I put in is finally starting to show that it's paying off. So I get my my first order in, and I process it. I go make the product as the Lord tells me how to make it. I go walk to the post office, which is probably about a good maybe 4 blocks or 5 blocks where I was at, and I put my first order in. Now, when I made the product, I was selling it for a lot, very, very cheap. Because I didn't know what to sell a product for. Like, how much do we sell for? PCs, I know that. I know how much to sell for PCs and computers and all that stuff. I know my price range in there. I know that. I know how people will pay. But this, I don't know. What do I sell this for? It's paint at the end of the day. It's just paint. But then when I realized when I'm going to these forum sites, my stuff isn't just paint, because my stuff is operating in a fully lit environment. Not like fully lit environment, Well, you saw right there. We made this cheap paint called Special Blend. We got it to operate in a fully lit environment on a cheap projector. And that's what I was doing, the same thing back then. Cheap projector, fully lit environment. And I had to do a white sheet comparison, all that stuff, because they wanted to know the difference between my product and a white surface. Mind you, gunmetal didn't exist. Black screen paints didn't exist. The battle at one point, I remember, was white screens versus white walls. That was one of them. The other one was DOP versus LCD. And then the other one was gray screens versus white screens. What is the difference? So I had to do a lot of white screen comparisons in that whole process. Excuse me. I had to learn about distance throw, having the projector, how far with the projector to sit back before it starts to deteriorate, stuff like that. All that, because we didn't have ultra short. None of that stuff even existed. If it did, it was out of our reach. But anyway, I had to learn all that stuff. Angle gain. I had to go back and like, what the heck is angle? I go to a forum site and the guy was like, what's your angle gain? What is angle gain? Go back and talk to my friends. What is angle gain? It's always when you turn to the side. It's supposed to look to the same as the front as it does to the side. That's angle gain. That's okay. I didn't learn that. What's the distance throw? Distance throw is when your projector sits back at a distance like 16, 17, 18, abnormal distance, and you can still travel around a fully lit environment and still pick up. People don't do that because they use ultra short throws, and that's dangerous in the day because you don't know what your image is going to have, how it's going to react when a person is using a long throw, because you're used to cheating using ultra short throw. This is why we do them both together, so you see there's no change in the image. That's why we do them like that. So I'm learning all this stuff. I'm learning the process. I got the first order coming in. I'm excited about the whole thing. I think I have the pictures on the first order too. I'm going to post it to my page, to the guy who actually did that. So anyway, it was my first review. And the review was that paint was excellent. Paint was excellent. And I got tons of reviews. The product was excellent. It's doing well, excellent. Then I started thinking about, hey, it'd be cool if I had somebody to test the product for me. And this is where I brought on in beta testers. So I found about beta testers. Mind you, never wrote up a contract like this before. The Lord blessed me with the knowledge to learn how to write contracts. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. I learned how to write contracts through God. He taught me exactly how to do it, what to say, where to put this and put that. He taught me how to make contracts involving territorial contracts, involving overseas contracts, customs, all that stuff. All that information was planted in my head when I was actually doing all this. So now we have a product that's selling. Now the next stage is I'm walking away roughly at $50 a quart. I'm walking away roughly with maybe $5 left. That's it. Just $5. That's all I'm walking away with, $5. And now I'm thinking that now I'm working for nothing because my eBay account, at least I take money back on that. I take good money back on my eBay account. But this is the business I need to do, take off. What is my product worth? So I go in and I talk to my mother and I ask her, I said, you know, I feel like I'm not, my product sells. I know it's good, but I don't know what to do. Like, should I sell for more? If I sell for more, then it seems like I don't know how to do this. And my mother's like, you have to sell it for what it's worth. You have to get what it's worth. If you don't, then you're going to be working for nothing. What is your product worth? That's what you have to do. Talk to the Lord about it. And that's what I did. I went to the Lord and asked the Lord, what do I charge? The Lord said, you're going to charge $100 a quart. You're going to charge $150 a gallon. And that's what I did, and it sold. I was in all the different forum sites. I was showing a product that was operating in a well environment where everybody was sitting in the dark. I was showing a screen that could be painted in 1 hour, as you see in the older demonstrations. There was a big achievement over the 6 hours. I was showing one coat application. I was showing that no sanding required because all the screen paints required massive sanding to get the wall perfectly flat. I was doing all the things the Lord said do the opposite of, and that's what I did. So product took off. It was doing well. I started making other screen paints, and the Lord blessed me with more and blessed me with more. And as it started to grow, it started to build. And then this guy popped in from, before he popped in, Fernando popped in. I never even heard of this guy before because I don't go searching YouTube channels for other people. I don't. I was on the forum site all the time, and I just meet people on the forum site. And this guy popped in, and he was asking for the ingredients of our product, and I said no. So he must have been looking around for other people because there was a whole lot more people that were making this stuff. Some people were doing it for hobbies. I think most majority of people were doing it for hobbies. I think I met two guys. Mississippi Man did have an ingredient, but his ingredients was so freaking complex. Like his ingredients was so complex that he couldn't sell it because he couldn't pass a process, a patent application because it was just too complicated, and it had things in it at the end of the day that you had to know what you were doing. You could get hurt. You can get hurt. That's some very interesting stuff in there, but it was too complicated. Like I said, back then, because of Goo Screens in their very complicated paint down demonstrations, people thought the more complex an item was, that the more advanced it was. That's what they thought. And we just came out there with this one simple coat, and you're done. But so with that being said, so I'll lose my train of thought here sometimes. I'm old, I'm 57, you have to understand that. So with that being said, I had to figure out what to sell it for, and the products they're selling. But this Fernando guy came in and started asking all these questions, and I'm like, oh no, buddy, we don't give things away for free. This is our product. We sell this. And then he went into this rant. Like the last couple of days. He went into these really horrible rants where he was accusing us of basically selling our products, and we should be giving our products away for free. Oh, you do remember this, don't you, Fernando? Yes, you do. And as God is my witness, and all that I say, you know what I'm talking about. So he came in requesting our products, and we said no, and he went to start these rant campaigns. Fernando has wanted our products from day one. He's been obsessed by our products from day one. And when he asked around who had the top product, it was us. We had the best gray screen paint in that particular era. So, because we did demonstrations no one else was doing, that's how we ended up getting the contract overseas, this big contract we walked into. These people saw, and they were doing all the research, they were checking out all the different paints to invest their money into, and they found us. We were the ones who had the best demonstrations, and that's how we ended up getting the contract overseas. But he wanted that product, and when we told him no, he started these vicious campaigns about it, saying that at one point that we At the end of the day, we're selling our products and we should be giving away for free because he's giving his products away for free and he should be supporting the people instead of stealing from them. It was no scammer yet. He wasn't anything about scamming yet. He was saying that we should be giving our products away for free because Fernando wanted the products. Fernando had a plan. Fernando's plan was to go in and to take as many screen paints as possible, make that mixture, and then sell it. And that's what he did. Later on, he came up with the video. I wish we'd got a copy of it. He had a video, and in the video he stated, I'm going to have to start selling the product now. I can't give it away for free. Now, Fernando, he was saying it's not true. I have some evidence proving that it is true. There's nobody in their right mind. That's like when I gave away the special blend. If I gave away the special blend and then later on charge you $60, $70, $80 for the special blend, wouldn't that be a bit off since you already know what's in it? Why would you buy something that you already know what's in it? So that's what you did. You did exactly what at one point you gave away products for free. That's why we have a video showing you making a black and white mixture for free. And again, through testing, we found out that the black and white mixture is the exact identical match to the products you were selling on your website. That's why we have all that stuff on the website, stuff you were doing. Even at one point, you outed yourself because on eBay, we have proof and we have videos of it, of you selling the Metallica Mix 2.0, which is a free product that you gave away years ago. We have proof of you trying to sell it on eBay. So, you know, when people do stuff like that, they will out themselves over and over again. But anyway, so again, started these nasty campaigns and stuff. But by then, you know, he wasn't doing like doxing addresses and all. He wasn't doing anything like that at all, period. It was just basic small harassment. Nothing we could get, you know, courts involved because it wasn't really a big a deal. When our products were taken off, they were selling quite well. And he wasn't doing any kind of the fake paint down demonstration. He wasn't doing anything like that, nothing like that. He was keeping it very simple, like just making stuff like don't buy his products and stuff like that. You know, I can make it, you know, stuff like that. But the thing with Fernando, the reason why Fernando couldn't take us down because our company was blowing up. Like, there are people buying our stuff. They're just buying it. Because the Lord, Jamie, you were dealing with God. You were dealing with Jesus Christ. His blessing that he gave to me well before I even met you. That's what I was getting. I was getting that blessing. And he became furious, upset. So now, all of a sudden, his products are being sold. Now he's selling his products. And he said that, hey, I can't give it to you for free anymore because I have to keep making it. Technically, no. Technically, it's like a cookbook. Cookbook, they're not being charged every time they make the product. They make the product one time, show you how to do it, and then they write down the ingredients. Like the special blend doesn't cost us anything to make it over and over again because we don't make it over and over again. That's the customer makes it over and over again. We just show you how it results, how it works, write down the ingredients, and you guys go from there. You make it the way you want to make it. That doesn't cost me anything. I just have to post the ingredients, that's all. But when he made that statement, I was like, that's a lie. Because it's not costing anything extra. You just make it and then give out the ingredients. That's it, as you were doing. So he says he's going to charge you more money. So he started selling the products, different products and stuff. Now he was doing good. He was doing very good. People were buying his products. He was doing good. But still he had this hatred for us, where he felt that we should have gave him the product. And then it started to intensify. He started doing more stuff against us and more stuff against us. And we kept letting it go. And they don't pay any mind. Just keep on working, do what we do. And he kept attacking us. Just let it go. And then later on, we got a contract from the fellow came down. I actually got a chance to go on Shark Tank from NBC or CBS, one of them. Anyway, and at the time I was in a contract with these people overseas. And, you know, I thought, you know, forget it. I'm not going to do the whole Shark Tank thing, which I should have did. I should have went on and got the publicity, at least something, and then walked off. And then, you know, I wasn't going to do business with them because I know I didn't like Shark Tank too much because I don't like their policy and what they do. But the publicity would have been nice. I should have took the opportunity. I didn't take it. I was enjoying this new contract. And people took a big interest in my company, and they flew down. They were from overseas, and man, it was incredible, man. I got this big, fat, massive contract, and, you know, and the Lord's telling me, be careful in this situation. And I'm thinking, like, now the arrogance pops in. I be careful about that one. And I'm thinking, like, oh man, my screen page number one, and I got this big contract, and stuff is selling like crazy, you know, everything's doing well. You know, you gotta be careful about that one. But the Lord was still watching over me, even though I was doing something I should have been more trustworthy to him in the situation. So they come down. The guy calls me up. I think it's a joke. I think it's him at the end of the day pranking us. And the guy was like, no, 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 no. No, my name is so and so and so. I run this company over in overseas. I can't tell you the country. And we're interested in your product. He said, I'm gonna let you know something. He said, when we come down, I'm going to pull this trigger. And if I pull this trigger, that means we're business at the end of the day. We come down, we get business done. We're not about playing games, we're not about joking. Does your stuff do exactly as it does in those videos? And I said, yeah, it does. It does the same thing in the videos. So okay, we'll be down next week. These people are not people how to be a player, they're a business. So next week, one of them popped up. With one of the representatives, he popped up. He said, yeah, I represent so and so, so and so and so. So he said, came to the sneaker store. That's where I used to hang out with my buddies over there. I got a chance to meet other two guys. There were two friends who were with me on this business venture. And he said, well, we're very interested, you know what I mean? And just to show you out of good faith, you think I come down here, I'm just going to pull your chain. I'm not really going to do anything with you or not whatsoever. And I'm thinking like, wow, you make 2 quarts and $2,800 is ours? Like, man, I'm blown away because I've never had made that type of money in my life. Not like that quick, that fast. I think, I just made $2,800 like in about a couple of minutes? That's crazy. I said, well, what do we do? Let's make the product, get over to him, get it done. And then once we're done, let's go celebrate. So I took everybody out to eat and stuff like that. And went out and did a little shopping, stuff like that. So it was great. Now I'm seeing my company about to hit that next stage, that big stage. And then I'm sitting there thinking back in my mind, like, am I ready for this? Like, that's going to be a lot of orders I'm going to have to do. And I don't have the facility. I don't have the 2 people to help me out. I mean, this is crazy. And I definitely don't want to take a loan from a bank. So I contact them. I say, hey, look, I don't really have a facility to be able to handle orders like that. He said, don't worry about it. We'll take care of that. Don't worry about that. We'll sign this contract. And within this contract, we can't reverse engineer and all that. All that was in there. They couldn't reverse engineer and all that stuff was in there. My buddy read through it. I don't like reading 50 pages of a contract. It was huge. He read all through it and I was like, okay, I wonder if I can find the original contract. I wonder if it's still on one of my accounts. But anyway, so he read through the whole thing. Oh, I forgot. They didn't email us. They literally went down and they brought it down with them. I remember because we had a meeting in Subway down in Girard Avenue. Because again, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, man, these people want to kill me, take my technology, they're going to, I'm scared, I'm nervous. I don't know. It's my first time doing a contract. Mine went wild a little bit. So I think the best thing to do is to have the whole contract signing in my neck of the woods, which they did come down. My people were out there too. They're out there in vehicles and trucks and stuff like that. And, they're out there walking around and stuff just in case if something happened because they maybe should have some support. And they were down there. And they were legit. Contract got signed. I signed my name, but when I signed my name, I signed it under Digital One Crystal Screen Paint, which the Lord had control over all that. In the situation, even when you think you have control, God has all control. So my company's name went down, not actually my name. If it did, they would have access to all of this. So, long story short, I got a chance to do things and meet people in this business that I have never got a chance to do when I was working in computers and stuff like that. I met all types of interesting people from all over the world. I've been able to have to ship my gray screen paints here. I shipped them there, all different places. I learned a ton of stuff in business that I didn't even know when I first started off. And I've seen God's glory and I've seen God's grace on so many levels, it's not even funny. I've seen His blessings. He talks to me constantly all the time. He talked to me when I built these machines, these computers. I'm not going to call you king. There's only one king, and that's Jesus Christ. All these machines I built that you guys make a mockery of, those are my blessings right there. God gave me the ability to build those machines. At one point, I didn't even know hard drive from a motherboard. You couldn't even tell me this or that. But that was the blessings from my Lord. Spoke to me in divine grace and gave me that ability to do that. And this is why I explained that to people at the end of the day, that people are like this, that you're walking a very dangerous line, a very dangerous line. I have, as a Christian man, I have got a chance to walk both sides of the fence. Some people get saved and they've really never witnessed that side. And Satan does show himself, he really does. But you don't really get a chance to get real insight of what these things are that fell from heaven. I went through a situation where in part of my life, I got possessed. Yeah, I got possessed by a demon. Yes, sir. And The way it thinks, the way it functions and operates, I don't remember too much of it, thank God. But I do know enough of it that they are dangerous, very dangerous. They're not to be entertained in any way whatsoever. You're not to be entertained. It's like a horror movie come to real life, and it's real, 100%. So, Satan came to me many times in this situation. At the time, I didn't even know the purpose of the product. I did know the purpose of the product. Actually, technically, I did know the purpose. Yeah, the purpose wasn't revealed to me on what this company was supposed to be about. But I did know at the end of the day that I got it from God. I know I got it from him. He got all glory. From day one, he got all glory. Always got all glory. Because I know where it came from. I knew it was speaking to me, it was talking to me, and on time to time, I had the devil come and say some things at the end of the day. I want you to do this. I can't do things that way because that's cheating, and at the end of the day, that's disrespect toward God, and he's the one who blessed me with this blessing. Can't do that. So, I got an opportunity to see my product grow, and then I got a chance to experience darker technology because I didn't even know darker technology even existed. I'm thinking everything's all light gray paints and this, that, and the other. Never seen a darker screen before, ever. Never seen one. At that particular time, I was going through problems with their contract because I can see bit by bit that they had a purpose. The purpose was to take my company from me. I saw things where they were changing my company's name. So it was Digital One Crystal. We just try to make it sound more European, but actually we're trying to take my company. It was just all types of stuff. There were all types of secret meetings and stuff that we weren't involved in. There's a lot of stuff going on. So I seen it coming. God was talking to me and said, hey, look, this is what's going on. And they're trying to take your business from you. And I'm thinking, wow, I worked so hard. I remember being sick and walking in snowstorms, walking in the rain, endless travels back and forth to get products to my customers. I remember being sick as a dog. Just came out of the hospital. Order came through, bundled up, went out in the snow, delivered the product. Coming home soaking wet, all the stuff I did to make sure my customers were taken care of. That's what I did. So I went through a lot of sacrifice for my company, a lot of sacrifice. I know what it's like to work massive, long hours, and your back hurts, your neck hurts, everything hurts, typing, building these websites and stuff. It's hard work. It's a lot of hard work I had to go through. Excuse me. Be out today. So, meanwhile, he's still slinging his nasty campaigns over there about me, and I'm just working. I'm doing what I have to get done. I can't have no time to entertain this. Every once in a while, I'll come over and tell him, look, man, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting this way? I don't even know you. I didn't do anything wrong to you. Why are you attacking me? Like, I haven't done anything to you. But he's just ranting and carrying on. Because at one point, you just said you were mad at me because I didn't give you my product. Because I was selling my product. I'm a bad person. And now you're selling the product. You're doing the same thing I'm doing. And I'm still this person today. You're just slamming it the other day because now I'm charging too much for my product. I'm charging what the Lord told me to sell my product for. Of course, he's not a Christian man in any way whatsoever. He just rants on. I said, okay, fine. Let's leave it at that. So I go back and I end up, this other company is trying to steal my business. And now I'm going through that nonsense at the end of the day. And, it's just one headache after the next. But, the Lord's still blessing. Things are still working out. And then we get into an altercation with them over there because, they're carrying on and acting up. And I'm like, okay, I found out that you guys had the secret meeting and you had this whole freaking investors and stuff, and we weren't informed. This is it. I'm done. I'm not bothering with you guys no more. We're done. Break it off. So now we got this. Their thing at the end of the day, when we got his product, who cares? They bought enough of my stuff to stockpile a lot. So they got enough of my stuff to make their money. But I remember when I was at that meeting, the Lord told me to say this. It is a riddle that I say every time I sign a contract. Every time. And I always say, Why do you fight for the crumbs below when there's a full-course meal over top? And they'll sit there and they'll laugh about it. And it has a meaning behind it. It really has a very strong meaning behind it. The Lord said, this is what you tell them. That's why you don't put, that's why Jesus spoke in kind of like in a mystery. You know, not all things are meant to be revealed to man, but he spoke in these mysteries. And he would explain them later on to his apostles what they mean. But that's what the Lord told me. This is what you say. And they would look at it, think I'm crazy to laugh about it. They know it actually had a very strong meaning behind it. Which means it tells them that we have the ability to change our technology at will. If they sit back and you don't fight over those little crumbs, the stuff that we give you is nothing compared to what we develop in the future. If you fight over those little things and you lose that, imagine the meal over top that you're going to miss out on. You're just fighting over crumbs. You're missing on the major meal over top of you for some little crumbs. And later on, they found out about what that meant. So when we are in this conflict with them, later on, I start seeing these demonstrations come up by Screen Innovation. This fellow comes up there, he takes his little sample sheet, he puts it against a white surface, he moves it around, everywhere it goes, it pops up. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So now I'm watching this guy's videos and research and all the stuff he's doing. I'm finding this stuff extremely fascinating. And my buddy contacted the company, got a little punch sheet of it, and he says, I asked him, I said, how is it? He said, man, this thing's like looking at a TV. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And he gives it to me. It's my birthday. He gives it to me and says, here, happy birthday. I was like, oh, cool. He knows I love researching today. So now I go to the store and get some Chinese food, you know what I mean? I'm going to take this thing back to my place. I'm going to test against my screen product. How good could this product be? But I'm also too baffled about how did he get a surface so dark to be able to read color, contrast, like white levels. How did you get to do this? Because that's the darkest thing I've ever seen in my life. So then I go down, go up, open up the door, go into the room, take out the punch sheet, set the Chinese food on the table, and I get to testing. And that thing took out every single screen paint I had. Even the ones that I had, the newer ones I was bringing out, it beat every single one of them. Every one of them. It was like, I've never seen anything like it. The color, the contrast, the brightness of the screen, it was incredible. Beautiful piece of technology. Now, again, I could have taken the last 12 or 15 years of my life hating on this individual. I could have went out and said things about his friends and family. I could have doxed his address. I could have sent death threats. I could have did all that stuff that you guys just did to me. I didn't do that. You know why? I'm a Christian. Why would I do that? And besides, I respect the technology and what I saw. What I got a chance to witness, it was a learning process for me to learn something new. That's what I took from it, a learning process. Not something to be angry and full of hatred because you're mad because the product that we have is blessed and it's better, and it is a way better product. So with that product beating everything that I have, the Lord is asking me, this is the path we'll follow. This is the path you're going to take. So now we start engineering darker technology. I don't know even the first thing about darker technology, but the Lord gave me the ingredients on how to get it done. And then within, I'll say a month's time, I mimicked the Black Diamond. I made an exact duplicate copy of the screen. But the difference between mine was mine could pick up an angle gain because I didn't have the reflective surface their screen had. So I ended up getting a letter from Goose Screen, which I have still on record. If I can get this thing to act right today. There we go. So the document that I got, actually how I got the document was because I thought it was my buddy playing jokes on me. He's the one who got me the sample. So I'm thinking like, he knows I've been in here testing for the last couple of weeks. He's probably in there messing with me. Like he's probably sent this to me and he's messing with me. There's no way in the world that Screen Innovation would ever send me a document and nothing. They wouldn't even call me. I mean, I'm a small timer, man. I'm not a big guy. They're not a big corporation. I'm a small guy. That's it. I'm not even thought of. They're nowhere near the level these guys are. These guys are way up there. They got businesses and corporations and business trips. They're way up there. Why would he be interested in me? So I'm thinking that has to be either a joke from my buddy. He's the one pranking me. And when the phone rang, I picked up. I was like, hello. And they were like, yeah, this is so-and-so and so for Screen Innovation. And I was like, yeah, right. Yeah, funny joke, June. Yeah, real funny. And click, hung the phone up. And the guy calls back again, says, no, I don't know who this June guy is, but I'm the real deal. And I was like, if you're the real deal, do me a favor. Send me an email with your watermark attached to it. And they sent me an email with their watermark attached to it, which I have right here. I kept it because, again, it was just interesting that a company of that magnitude would contact us. So Screen Innovation was watching my company. I didn't think they would watch me. I didn't think anybody would watch me because my customers and stuff like that. But I never thought they would basically contact me. This is what I mean by Fernando. When you get on your channel and you make these awful statements about my company and my family and friends, and you say you're the main expert, I would think a company like this, Screen Innovation, was never even tested my product at all, period. They saw it through their eyes, what they were seeing. They saw an exact duplicate of their screen that took them roughly, I think, 11 years to make that technology. And we did it in a few weeks. And I let them know that they're like, wow, this guy can figure our stuff out in a few weeks. We got to talk to this guy. So this is the email that I received from Screen Innovation. You can see under the company right here, it's under Digital 4K Crystal Onyx. Because before we reached this point, I was still having conflict with the other company, and they thought they were going to get away with going in and stealing my product from me. So the Lord blessed us with this darker technology as we're working with this company. We're working back and forth, testing with this one, we're making this darker technology. Meanwhile, I had all the beta testers do tests against the darker technology versus the ones they had, the lighter technology, and in the results, the darker technology was far more superior. This is why when I tell this in the vision in the day, then the gray screens, I know you guys want to get upset about this and get mad with me about this, but I did this literally already. And I did this in a situation where I was with Screen Innovation at one point, and I had a global. It wasn't a state-to-state contract. It wasn't a country. It was a global contract, a multi-million-dollar global contract I had. So I'm dealing with them on this side. I'm dealing with what's going on over here at the end of the day. So I know at the end of the day, when I tell you that a darker technology is far more advanced than your gray, because I literally did it to myself. I actually put one company out of business to build another one. So I deliberately sank my Digital One Crystal Screen Paint products for a darker technology, and I had all the beta testers show why the darker technology is better. Why it was done that way? Because if I can show that the lighter product was worthless, that means the people on the other end that stole my idea or tried to steal my idea would get nothing out of it, and that's what happened. Because no one on their side wanted the lighter mix anymore. They wanted the darker mix. That's what they wanted, the darker formula. And the darker formula matched their technology over here, which is the very dark screen. So when you guys come and say, oh, he's doing that, I hate, no, I did this to myself. So I know what your product is worth. Your product is not worth the price tag you're claiming it's worth. It's not. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. I know because I did it to my own self. That's how I know. See, you learned a lot about Mr. Bird today. All right, moving on. So as their company started to fall, because again, nobody wanted the lighter mix, they wanted the darker ones, they decided to take me to court. Because they felt that I self-sabotaged the other company because for no reason at all whatsoever. But we knew why they were doing it. They were trying to put my company out. They were trying to take it from me. So they did take me to court. But when they took me to court, they didn't even read the contract. Sometimes the Lord will gaze your eyes. So you can't see things until the time comes up. If you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, the Lord will hide these areas from you. So when the time comes, you are caught in that situation of what you were doing. They were ripping off a Christian-based company. And they knew what they were doing. And the Lord allowed his eyes to be gazed. He never saw the handwriting. And the handwriting didn't say Kenneth Bird. It said Digital One Crystal Screen Paint, which means he would have all rights under Digital One Crystal Screen Paint and not Digital 4K Crystal Onyx, which is the new company. Which means when went to court, he lost. He only has rights to that. And since our company has a right, it says nothing in the contract about me basically designing a better product. It says nothing in the contract about me taking out my own product. Because they didn't think I would do something like that, because they literally thought that the product that they got from me was the only one that I possess. That's why I gave him the riddle at the table. And when he finally we had our last conversation, I said, why do you fight for the crumbs below when it's a full course meal overhead? Let me explain. The digital and crystal screen paint were the crumbs. The digital 4K crystal onyx is a full course meal. We can make things beyond that. You thought at the end of the day that when you came down to see me, your intentions were to take the product from me, and that was the only thing that I could make. I could make nothing else. Not realizing that I can make whatever the Lord blesses me to make, because his knowledge is infinity. There you go. He learned a valuable lesson that day. He contacted me many years recently. We talked. He had a life-changing experience. This is what happens when you deal with trying to steal from a Christian. Your life will go through a life-changing experience. You will be under judgment for doing this. The Lord doesn't allow people to go in and trample his people. We are his people. He doesn't allow people to do that. You will go through a judgment. And that's what he went through, judgment. He went through some stuff in life. But it's part of it. But he became a humble man out of the whole situation. And that's good because he learned from it. Some people don't learn, and these punishments get much greater than that. As you saw with Pharaoh, when he had his firstborn was taken from him because he just wouldn't quit. So the Lord had to take his firstborn from him. But anyway, so yeah, they contacted me. Now I'm having this conversation with the guy. I'm thinking, like my mind's blown away because I'm thinking these people were watching me. I didn't think no way in the world they're watching me, but they're watching me. This is why I said at the end of the day that carry yourself in a perspective matter when you're doing business, because companies do watch you. And when you're Fernando, when you're on your website and you're doxing people's addresses and you're making these puppet people and you're slandering, carrying on, no company will ever touch you with a 10-foot pole because you would get them sued. You will lose your temper, go out and do this stuff to maybe a company that you feel that you don't like, and you'll mess around because both of y'all names are sitting on a contract. They'll get hit with that lawsuit too. That's why you're very dangerous to do business with, extremely dangerous to do business with. But as I said here, as you can see, here, yeah, close enough to it. There we have, that's the date when everything happened. That's the fellow, I don't know if it's the same person that at Creativation now. And that right there, that's my email. And this is a letter was wrote up to me. Good talking to you this morning. Sorry I woke you. As I stated, we are interested in looking at your products. Your product. It was one product at the time because we were only making one of them. It seems to have, it seems to have potential. Let me know when you are ready to continue the discussion. And that's Screen Innovation right there. That's them. They contacted us. And I'm thinking, whoa. I'm sitting like, whoa, you got to be kidding me. They contacted me. I had to go back and show them. They contacted me. I'm like, this is crazy. Now, at the end of the day, you know, what happened at all that was it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. There were things said about it that I didn't like. A lot of things I didn't like. And I felt that we should have got an NDA. I'm not taking anything anywhere. You can fly me out from here to there, whatever. I need an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement stating that you can't touch or mess with this in any way whatsoever. Mine's at the beginning stage. We just made this stuff. We need a chance to lock it down. Nothing. We're testing something new. It was the D4K. That's what it was. And after all back and forth, it got down to it that everything, communications broke off. Because again, I'm not taking anything down to you. I need the NDA. Can't get into NDA. We can't get one right now. I want that with Optimum. NDA, that and the other. And I'm like, okay, you got a law. I'm pretty sure you got a legal team at the end of the day. You can't get an NDA. All right, we're done. This is when I realized that big companies at the end of the day, you got to be careful because, again, intentions sometimes are not what intentions are supposed to be. So, when we wouldn't play with them, they turned around and they got a lawyer on us. Now, for you guys to understand, increases, I think I know what they are. I got them. I got a lot of them before. Companies, we basically beat their products. We get these quite often. So, they send us one of these. This is a document. That's what I explained to them. When your stuff is good, you'll receive one of these. Now, keep in mind, if they ever sit there and say in court, well, hey, look, the guy was attacking our company. No. If you felt I was attacking your company, you would have never sent me a letter telling me that Bertradic has potential. Let's talk. That doesn't sound like a person who's very upset that we basically were able to mimic your product. That doesn't sound like a person. No one starts off. Who would wait and let me do that? Jamie's over there messing with her stuff and send a letter. Hey, your product has potential. Let's talk about this more. No, people don't do that when they're basically angry with you. So anyway, when things didn't work out the way they wanted, they sent a lawyer on it. Bully tactics. Now, mind you, at the time, I don't know much about this stuff. Postal Act of Consumer Consumer misrepresentation. That's what they're trying to get me with. They're saying that I misrepresented their product. I don't know how I misrepresented your product. Your product has something called narrow viewing cone effect. Like everybody talks about it in every form site. When you turn to the side, they go dark. That's when they made a screen called Zero Edge. Zero Edge doesn't have that issue, but the Zero Edge is lighter. And in between, think of it because of the fact that the screens don't produce, they're dark. They produce a better contrast, so way better than what this gray screen is seen today. But and we finished Digital Crystallonics. The last stage of that technology was black, because we did with the D4K, D5K, and D6K. Now, mind you, when I saw the Diamond, I thought the Diamond was a black screen. I literally believed it was a 100% black screen. That's what I thought it was. I've never seen a screen that dark anyway. When I get it there, it's not. It's a gunmetal screen. It's a weird color to it. And I said, what's this? I talked to a friend of mine. I said, oh, that's gunmetal. I said, oh, that's gunmetal. That's gunmetal. I said, okay, interesting. So I had to know what I'm dealing with, what color I'm dealing with. I can't go out and buy gunmetal, because you can't go out and buy gunmetal. You have to make that stuff. And the interesting thing about gunmetal, what some people have a habit of calling their stuff gunmetal and don't know what gunmetal is gunmetal is an ultra dark gray screen. The darker you get it to being near black, but not black. It's like when you have that demonstration where you throw pennies against the wall. Whoever comes closer to the wall is the one that wins. This is how gunmetal operates. The closest you come to black without being black, that is gunmetal. But then the darker you become, you have to be able to show your white levels are still operating. And you're still going to have to show at the end of the day, because you are doing gunmetal, that you have to take out other high-grade certified gunmetals as you do it. Why? Because the whole theory of physical screens are far better than screen paints. That's been going on for decades. Why the physical screens work better than paints? Paints will never be to mimic physical screens. And then you got these certified screens out here to produce higher contrast and higher lumen counts and stuff like that. You have to be to prove all that. And the only way you can prove all that, you have to beat the physical screen itself. That's why the gunmetal technology we make has a track record of taking out high-grade certified screens, because we can produce an image on a technology that we can generate a high white level, produce a very high contrast level, and then at the same time absorb light and still be able to take out the higher screen. That's why we did all these demonstrations on that technology. So that's why I said that, when you get the people come in, these new trolls, you don't understand the first thing of what you've gotten yourself into. I said before, we got to go to court for this stuff. There are court hearings coming up over this mess. You are going to be dealing with a person who is very well skilled. I know my stuff at the end of the day. I know my history, my track record, what my technology does. And most of all, we are guided by our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who's the one who's responsible for the development of the technology that you slandered. Not going to go well for you in court. It really isn't. But anyway, so yeah, they sent an attorney after me. And the attorney used a bully tactic. Now, bully tactic is basically, they send these things out to get you to shut it down. They're requesting us to remove all videos. Anything that had anything to do with their product, remove this, remove that, get rid of this, get rid of that, don't do this, don't do that, so on and so forth. So I abided by it, It's a bully tactic. It was wrong, it was dirty what they did. Not a problem. See the difference between me and you, Mr. Fernando, because you hold these angry, nasty grudges toward people. This is your downfall at the end of the day, because you entertain Satan. I could have went the same way with them. These people openly, so 1 minute said my product was fantastic, and because I wouldn't do what they wanted to do, they turned around and they attacked me with this nonsense in the day. I could have basically just got his sample sheets and just lied about it and said his products were garbage and they were scams and all that stuff. I didn't do that. You know why? Because I respect the technology that they produce. That's the difference of professional and non-professional. A professional may not like the people who make it, but they still respect the product and technology, because they can see that bottom line is it's very good. It's a good product. And it is. The screen innovation technology is extremely good. Some people ask me at the end of the day, if I didn't have this technology, what screen would I have? I would have certain innovation. I like their technology. It's very good. I don't appreciate how it was treated in the process. I don't appreciate that. But I do respect the technology for what it is. I respect the man who went in and took 11 years of his life, I think it's 11 years of life, and in a garage and designed this stuff. I respect that. But I don't like how they treated me. Do I hate them? No, I don't have any hatred for anybody. I don't entertain that. Sorry. Do Satan. I don't allow Satan to entertain. I don't entertain Satan those levels. But I respect that. Now, you, on the other hand, you just hate us for the sake of just hating us. You hate me because I wouldn't give you my product for free. You hate me at the end of the day because our products are more advanced. I watch you do stuff, man. I watch you steal specification sheets off our website. I've watched you steal customer pictures, like all types of stuff. But, you know, who does that? Who takes a specification sheet? Who steals customers' pictures to claim from a company that you claim to be a scammer? You copy our labels. You say you can make our products. When you did all that stuff, you were slandering God. That's God's technology. It's God's work. It's God's blessing. And you attacked it over. And then those who followed behind you, you condemned yourself, but you put yourself under judgment. And this is why we're at this point of courts. And yeah, lengthy jail time. Some of this jail time, I mean, they think I'm saying this. No. You guys don't understand the situation of this. You went out and you attacked a business. You attacked people at the end of the day. These are crimes. You can't get away with this kind of stuff. And the stuff you were doing and how you were doing it, yeah, I hate to say this, and this is sad, and this is not to rub in your face, but you're going to be going to jail for a long time. Some of these prison sentences are 30 plus. These are federal crimes. This is a very serious situation you got yourself into. And with him, it's very serious. The man literally confessed to me he's undocumented. He can't make it to court. There's no way in the world he's going to make it to court. And I'm not being to be rude or mean, but he can't make it. And if he doesn't, he's going to, we all know how this works. We Americans know how this works. So yeah, it's going to happen that way. I did everything and I pray on everything before I do it. Because I make sure that when I do these, when I file these charges and everything I have to do, I have to do this with a clear heart. I can't do this out of anger. If I do this out of anger, I mean, Satan's working through me. I can't do that. I may be angry that day because these people who wouldn't. And I'm a human being at the end of the day. I'm a man, a human being. You know, just like some of you guys on here and ladies, you know, I'm a human being. I have emotions and feelings just like you. Someone takes your picture in your face and they slander you all over the internet. How would that make you feel? That'd upset you, wouldn't it? If someone took something you worked very hard to build, you worked very hard for years to build, and they trashed it, diminished it, said you were a scammer, how would that make you feel? Somebody went out and they contacted your family members. They went out and they doxed their addresses, invited people to come down and harm your family members. How would that make you feel? So if I get on camera and I'm upset and bothered by this, I'm considered to be triggered. So you're saying that I should not be to do anything. I should not be to defend myself. I should just be to take this beating and just deal with it. You wouldn't deal with it, so why would I have to deal with it? So that's why I went to my Heavenly Father and I prayed before him about the situation I was having. And my Lord is now casting his judgment. And he said that every single individual who even had a thought, God's judgment is deep, who even had a mere thought of touching that blessing is under judgment. Reading the Bible. Reading the Bible, look at where it says about touching God's anointed, what happens. The outcome is never good. And I learned that personally. Personal experience, I learned that myself. That's why I said, I got a chance to experience a lot of stuff as a Christian. I got a chance to experience what those things are, those fallen angels. I got a chance to experience what happens when you threaten Christians, and the outcome is never good. I got my judgment swift and quick. Learn your lesson and all that stuff. But anyway, getting back to this, both are important. But yeah, this is what we received from an attorney telling me that I had to back down this and this and other, and they were going to sue me for all this money, $150,000. They're going to sue me for. This is what this is. So now, when we develop our technology, and my thing was I still love Black Diamond technology. I still do. Even though they treated me this way, I still like their technology. I do respect it. But now all the technology we develop it to be able to overpower diamond screens. That's why they're black. That's why they're ultra black. On two reasons why they're ultra black. because of that reason, and the other reason because I literally thought I was getting a black screen. And when I was set on a black screen, that's what I thought I was getting. But when I didn't get it, and it was still amazing technology, still darker than anything I ever had, I still wanted a black screen. So now the curiosity is in my mind, like, can you make a black screen? Is it possible? And that's how we ended up with Digital 4K Crystal Onyx, our first black projection screen technology, the first one. And when I first got it, I didn't even know what to sell it for. I was like, what am I going to sell this for? Like, I don't even know, because we can't sell it for the same price the others are selling for. The D4K and D5K were like $300 a quart and stuff like that. You know, they were selling. Like, what am I going to sell this for? I'm curious. What can we sell this for? I sold it for $900. It sold. About when I was in the Estes Radio Times with my ex. I was in the store and I'm like, huh. And she's like, what? I said, I got like 4 orders at $900 a pop. I was like, that is crazy. Like, they would pay that type of money for black technology? Because I didn't think anybody would pay for black technology. Who would pay for a black screen? They don't pay that much for a black screen. And then we were charging, we were getting that money for that. People were buying it up. And a guy came in and said, it's not fair. And I said, what's not fair? He says, it's not fair because you charge $900 for this stuff. Man, I can't even afford this. I want this, but I can't afford it. Like, bring it down, man. Bring it down to like something like bring the $300, something like that. I can afford that, but $900 is a lot of money. So I got to thinking, I was like, you know what? He's right. He's definitely right. Because that means that puts me in the same category class as the high-end certified paints that were on the market. And I'm trying to do something different. My goal when I started my business was to bring more affordable products to the customers. That's what it was. Because it's all these expensive screen paints that are on the market, and I started marketing my product underneath theirs, but in a way to make something too in the process, because I had to figure out how to make a little more money than, you know, charge the price I was charging. But my main goal has always been trying to charge for a cheaper price. So that's what I did. I brought it down to $300, and it sold even faster. So now, you know, I try, when you guys come out and say, oh, is product so expensive? My product is not expensive. My product takes out certified screens. How many certified screens have you taken out with your gray screen paint products? Have you done DMP Supernova? I've done the Infinity and Blade. They're very high-end screens. I've done Seymour AV. I've done Firehawk G4 and G5. I've done Black Diamond technology. Right there. I have done, what else we have today? Daylight screens. I have one sitting over there, the Parallax, which is a $7,000 screen. That stuff could easily overpower it. You know, that's what our stuff is based off of. It's not based off great products. The great products would never fit in our category. I know this because I used to have a company that sold gray screen paints, and I deliberately designed a black technology or a gunmetal technology to take it out. So, you know, I know the difference between the two. I know the lies you're telling because I used to develop this. I used to make this stuff. So I know you're lying when you're saying that you read this and do that and all that. You don't read any of that. I know because I saw it happen to my own stuff when the diamond hit my stuff. I saw my screen fail. I seen a screen produce higher white levels even though it was darker than my screen. I saw a screen produce colors that my screen couldn't even begin to even think about. I saw a screen pour a contrast level, even though it wasn't black, but it was way better than what I was producing at the end of the day. It was a much better technology. So that's how I know you're lying, because I witnessed it myself. I went through the process myself. So you think I'm going out just attacking gray? No, I went through this. I know it myself. Were you there? Were you there in that era? You weren't there. I know why your company's age is set. You were nowhere in the world. You were in that era. So with that being said, you wouldn't have seen the beginning stages of gunmetal technology. I believe it comes from Screen Innovation. I do. I believe that the first ones are the only ones I've seen who had that type of technology at the time. Maybe other companies didn't know about, but all I know at the time, Screen Innovation was the first company you saw with that type of technology. So if you got a chance to witness a sample sheet of that Black Diamond 1.4, that thing is absolutely incredible. But the thing about it is we learned to mimic the technology through paint, which was unheard of. And then we learned to develop a technology that could take out the Black Diamond, which was black technology. And what does Screen Innovation have now? Black technology. Yeah. We had black technology longer than that. We were experimenting with black technology 10 years ago. We can go to our accounts 10 years ago and show you a screen called Digital One 3.0. It was an experimental black screen. We were experimenting with that stuff. We just didn't know, what use we use it for because everything was gray. No one wanted black screen at the time. So it was a lot of testing we were doing. But let me see. Oh, that's what I want to go to right now. Let's come out of this folder. I don't know if it's still there or not. I don't know. Maybe still there. Who even knows? But anyway, so, I learned a lot in this field. But when I do my products weren't after other gray screen paints. That's what it was when I was making gray screen paints. When I realized that darker technology, that thing that popped up, that black diamond, why in the world would I continue to on with challenging gray screens when I just seen a screen that can literally take out my stuff, and my stuff was better than everybody else's? So why don't I continue down that path? That just told me at the end of the day when I saw that surface that my stuff isn't worth jack next to this thing. This thing is pretty much can take my stuff out. So the next stage I had to do is I had to upgrade. That's why I keep explaining to you, gray people make these gray paints and stuff, or gray screen paint makers. You have to evolve. You have to upgrade. You got to start testing your stuff against certified. You still can't take out certified screens. There's no way in the world you would beat a screen with that type of power. So if you want to make that money, you're going to have to go against the big dogs. These are the guys that can operate 8.0.8 and 0.9 and all this stuff. You got to go against these guys first. You're worried about me. I've already been through this already. I've already been down this road. I've conquered this already. How can you conquer me if I have done this already? That means I would be greater than them. If I'm greater than them, how would you take me out if you have not taken them out? That's how it's a learning process, the pecking order. So they became furious with me, and this individual, Jamie, continued to slander us and slander us and slander us. And then as things go on, he started incorporating people, and as you see where we're at right now. This is where we're at right now. But the Lord allowed us to see all your secrets. He allowed us to see our enemy for who he really is. If you're attacking a Christian, the enemy will strip you of everything and show you who you are dealing with. And Jamie confessed to us. He told us things that we didn't even know about him. I was pretty sure I had a hunch and idea that maybe, but he confirmed it 100%. The devil went in and had him come in and say these things, and he said them, he brought them to us. The devil made him believe at the end of the day that what he would say to us would discourage us from continuing on to file these complaints against him, when basically it outed him for what he is. And this made more problems for him. Again, at the end of the day, I said, listening to the devil does not help you. It just brings more woes and heartache to your world. That's all it does. That's why I keep coming on camera and explaining to them. They don't listen. Mr. Williams doesn't understand his situation, but should understand the situation. Mr. Williams sent 196 pieces of mail to different locations, including us. And in some of these pieces of mail we received from Mr. Williams, his fingerprints were intact, handwriting, and not only worse, he sent pictures of himself half naked. And an open postcard through the United States Postal Service, which now has started an investigation that has been closed on one account and transferred to federal agents, inspectors, that have told me and informed me that now they could arrest him, but jurisdiction issues, so they sent it to Baltimore for them to begin the process of an arrest warrant. He is going to jail for 30 plus years, plus additional jail time of whatever nonsense he was doing involving other people's businesses that now have to come up and have to press charges because he did use their addresses without permission. That's the kind of trouble Satan gets you into, that type of stuff. Fernando, the outcome, the ending for him, he's being deported. Now, he may sit there and say, yes, Fernando, you're going to be deported. It's a horrible thing you're going to go through. It is. It's a sad thing you're going to go through. It is. But you don't have any type of documents. Nothing here in the United States at all, period. You clearly stated in an email, trying to be slick by saying you can't be found. If you don't make it to this court date, when they send you the letter, if you don't make it to the court date, what's going to happen is a no-show in court. We all know what it means here. What it means is a bench warrant. which means they're going to issue a warrant, an arrest for you. And that means Baldwin Police Department will get that notice. And that notice, they will go to your property to arrest you because you failed to show up in court. Now, why you can't make it to court? Fernando doesn't have paperwork. You'll never make it through TSA. Heck, all of us who have ID and identification, we know the nightmare of going through TSA. They're very thorough about checking everything. They're definitely going to check anything. You can't get a ticket in someone else's name. You can't do that. That ticket must match your identification. I would never get on an airline that allows people to go on and allows people to buy tickets for them. I'm not getting on an airline. Anybody can be on there. I'm not trying to get killed. So no, they have to be very, very serious about this. So again, if he doesn't make it, what's going to happen is he's going to get a bench warrant. Now, if he gets a bench warrant on him, they're going to basically transfer him here. Or worse case scenario could be that if they find out, and they're going to know he doesn't have documents because you have to do background check. Everybody's going to do background check. Even when they pull you over, they swipe your ID to that computer, and the computer tells if you have a bench warrant or maybe something against you, they can come get you. They can come in the car, they'll step out of the vehicle, take 3 steps back, and then it goes in a day. They'll do that nonsense to you. That's what you have to do. Well, not nonsense, but you have to do it. It protects them at the end of the day because they don't want to get hurt. Pretty sure they want to go home to their families. I would want to. But anyway, so he'll be arrested. And then on top of that, once they do the whole check and they find out he doesn't have anything on him, they got to contact immigration to come pick him up. And they'll just, I guess, contact the judge when it's down here and say, look, he doesn't have documents. We had to contact immigration and they're taking it from there. You have to reach out to them. That literally can happen. Or say it doesn't happen. Say he is transferred to here because he has to come here either way. And say they put him in the prison we have over here. They're going to do a check on him. And if they find out he doesn't have documents, they're going to contact him. Either way, he's going to be deported out of the country. Now, he's angry. He's mad about this. He feels that, how is it my fault? You called me racist. You have to pay for that. Judgment is on you for making that statement. Anything you say out of your mouth, anything you think of your mouth, any evil thing you say out of your mouth, toward a Christian, this is judgment. This is God going to protect his people. So how am I supposed to be racist against Mexican people? Because you openly attacked my company. You attacked my friends. You attacked my family. And you're expecting me to basically just treat this as it's nothing. We're allowed to, you're supposed to be continually allowed to do this. It hurts me when I worked for many, many years to build a business, to be able to do something for the community, and then turn around and get hit with such hatred, to get hit with people who will disrespect my friends, disrespect my family members, that will contact places that I work at, that all I'm trying to do is just work. And you will contact these places and say the most nasty things about me to have them terminate me. And then post a YouTube video and say, oh, this is why he was terminated, because he's a scammer. Do you know my Heavenly Father, when he sees what you do to me, how it makes him feel? It angers him. It angers him that someone is treating his anointed, his children this way. If someone attacked your child you're out there and you're watching, this child walks over and hits your child, what is your reaction? Your reaction is you're just going to go off. You're the angriest person in the world because somebody touched your child. Well, that's how the Lord feels about his people when you guys touch us. I did nothing wrong to you guys. I mind my own business. But you came and attacked me because I would not give up my product. And I will not give up my product. I will not do it. These are my blessings. They belong to me. But he has contacted companies and said those nasty things about me to get me terminated. You know how hard it is for me to get up? I got to go down and go to these different places to do setups. And I would love to be to show you the places that we work at. I would love to show you the things that we do. But, you got people like McAfee. Yeah, I'm going to say your names because you're going to get credit for credit is due. And it's not saying out of anger, it's because what you did. I'm not going to hide you for the sake of feeling, what do you call it? Like the guilt with what you did to us. You contacted people in the neighborhood I was at, and you went out and you told them nasty things about me. These are people that are friends of mine. Did I do anything like that to you? No. What did I do to you at the end of the day? I didn't do anything to you. I don't even know you. But you attacked me for no reason at all. Danny Rogers, another person, attacked us, nasty things about us, all because of what Fernando said. I don't even know you. You attacked me for no reason whatsoever. Williams. Williams went out and did all types of evil stuff to us. So we're scammers, rip-off artists, can't trust us, this, that, and the other. I don't know you. Why would you attack me? I don't even know who you are. Even when you called the garage, screaming and yelling at me, saying at the end of the day that I'm all these things and this, I said, buddy, I don't even know you. But you attacked me for no reason at all. And continue to attack me. And continue to attack my friends and family. And at that, you sent naked pictures to my sister's address. I told you, there's kids in there, man. And you sent them anyway, knowing there's kids in there. See, this is what I mean by, this is all from Fernando. All this stems back to Fernando. Because Fernando was mad because we wouldn't give up our blessings. That is what you see. When you see something like that, that is the devil at work. Am I calling Fernando the devil? No, he's not actually the devil. But he works with Satan. And y'all thought at the end of the day that Satan's plan at the end of the day, let me attack this Christian as much as I possibly can, because maybe I can get that other side to wake up. If I get that other side to wake up, I can get him back to his original state and to where I can claim him. That's never going to happen, Satan. I serve God now, and I'm going to stay with my Lord to the day that I leave off this earth. And I'm going to continue to run my company, do my business, do my job. The things I had to learn at the end of the day is not to engage in certain things, because if I do engage in these things can hurt me at the end of the day. Christians are punished for what they do. I got punished, I think it was yesterday, the day before yesterday. Yeah. When I was on, that's why when I delete videos, I don't delete videos because I'm hiding anything. I delete videos because it displeases me, because I did not carry my way up. I can't carry my way as a Christian man should carry his way. It's a disrespect to my Lord. I should not be bragging and boasting when my enemy falls. I never should do that. I should not be repeating it over and over again. I'm angry, yes, I'm upset. These people attack me on every level you could possibly think of. But I have to learn at the end of the day, I serve God. And I have to handle it in a different way. Which means I have to say what I have to say and leave it be. And leave it to God. To bring it up over and over again is I am sinning against God. That's why I felt that I didn't want to be on streams anymore. Number of reasons why I'm leaving, but also too, I didn't want to be on streams anymore because of I'm sinning against God. Anything that comes before my God at the end of the day, it ain't worth my time anymore. I'll give up this business in a hot second. If the Lord says I have to leave it, I'll leave it. But as I said before that, you guys tried your hardest to destroy my life. You contacted my landlords. They were contacting my landlords. Ranting to them, trying to get me kicked out in the street. Try to get me removed out of businesses I was working in. Spread all these nasty rumors about me all over the internet, saying that my paints were fraudulent. How can my paint be fraudulent if I'm in multiple locations, if I have customers showing my stuff off? I do demonstrations just about every single day. Why in the world would I even go into an establishment and set up anything if I knew my stuff didn't work? If it came up that dark? So you guys made these campaigns, pushed all this hatred toward me for a person who did absolutely nothing at all, but just tried to make a better product for customers. That's what you did. I sat in the middle of the floor and I announced it to God and the world before we even had the technology to red in the sun. Not at that level. We never had 300 lumens outside, never worked with anything that low. I sat there and made the announcement, and God blessed our hand. He showed us for who we are. So if our stuff didn't work, it just wouldn't have worked. That's all to it. You could have easily taken me to court. And as I said before, for a person who claimed who's done all this scamming and ripping people off, how come there's no police charges on me? There's nothing there at all. How come none of you have filed anything against me? You know where I'm at. I'm right here in the office. You could file a claim against me. None of you have done that. None of you have lifted one heel to take it to the judge or court or whatever to accuse me. You went online and made all these accusations. So when the time comes, and it will come, when we reach that courtroom, you will have plenty of time to explain to a judge why you felt that I am this big scammer at the end of the day and how I ripped all these people off. You will now have the opportunity to speak in front of a judge and basically make your statement known. But keep in mind, as I said before, there are consequences behind your actions. If you do fail these attempts, then the big term is you're going to lose a great deal of money. These lawsuits are pretty heavy because your actions were great. And the time in jail you will spend, again, shortening your lifespan on this earth, because these places are awful. I've been there. You're going to get hefty jail time because of this. But look at the stuff you did to me. And then my Heavenly Father knows in heaven that if I'm guilty of all these things, then I would have no justice at all whatsoever. You guys went out and attacked me for no reason, over hatred and jealousy. Even so far, talking about racial stuff, oh man, I can tell you racial stuff a mile long. I've been called just about every book in the world. I've got text messages of people calling me nigger. Yeah, you've kind of spawned that kind of hatred toward me. Man, people call me the N-word. Right, you don't do anything wrong. Just mind your own business. And people are just calling you hatred and scammer and rip off because you guys went out and started all these hatred campaigns about me. I'm sitting there working and installing this projection system in, and it's a lot of hard work. I'm trying to get this thing to go in, and the study's on a slant, trying to get the mount to go in. I'm thinking, oh great, hope this thing doesn't pull out. I'm trying to put the screws in correctly and all that. I went through a lot to install the whole setup in. And I'm listening to the guy who's in there. People are coming in, and they're saying his food is fantastic. I tried some myself, it's actually amazing. And, I'm thinking like, wow, why couldn't I get that kind of recognition? Why can't I get people to treat me like that? Why can't I get someone to say, hey, Ken, you made a good product. Hey, Ken, you worked hard. Hey, I had that back in the day. When these guys came in and started doing this stuff to me, all that went away. Maybe it's just something my Lord is putting me through, But at the end of the day, it's not fair because I worked hard, man. I worked hard every day, man. There were days that I was sick, days that I had that lung disease in my system. You have no idea what I went through, the pain and suffering I went through having a lung disease. And I got up every day and worked, regardless on days that I felt that when I got off camera, I felt I was dying inside. That's what I went through. Being rushed to the hospital, paramedics putting all this equipment on me, and then getting out that day, go back to work. I love my job. I love what I do. I really do love my job. But it's a shame when I sit there and I hear other people getting credit for the work, and they're saying, wow, and I'm sitting like, wow, I got to be careful. I can't even let people know where I'm working at because people will go in and say hateful things to me and try to, I'll lose this job. I'll lose this business. I'll lose my work at the end of the day. And the Lord's telling me it ain't going to happen. I got your back 100%. Don't worry about it. I got you. But still, at the end of the day, I'm still a man. I still have that feeling at the end of the day. I worked hard, gentlemen. I worked so freaking hard to build my company. And you try to take it from me. You tried every tactic you could, even attacking my loved ones. So you can see why when we reach court, it's why I want 20 to 30 years out of your time. It's not done out of hatred. I don't hate you in any way whatsoever. I don't give Satan that satisfaction, but I want justice for what you did to me. I didn't do anything to you at all, and you attacked me for no reason whatsoever. I worked very hard to build my business. I had to go through a lot of uphills and struggles and battles, but at least at the end of the day, it's still here. Through everything I've been through, even my own health, it's still here. And I refuse to let you take it from me. You're not going to take it from me. You can do all that you can, but you will not take it from me. And my Lord has my back 100%. When we go to court, justice will be served. So that's my story. I'm going to get back to work. Right now I got some screens I got to install in. I do apologize if I came on with the whole arrogant attitude, with the whole, so I should have never been doing any of that stuff whatsoever, because again, that at the end of the day, it's not what God's about. The bragging and boasting and all that stuff, better things, so and so and so. No. I'm removing the stuff off eBay. And the reason why I'm removing it off eBay, so these individuals don't say something nasty, I'm removing it because I don't know, out of the mixtures of gray paints that are sitting on that website, that could be somebody's blessing at the end of the day, and I could be disrupting their blessings. So I'm removing it at the end of the day. There are plenty of products out there. I don't know if this product would match theirs. If it does, if it doesn't, at the end of the day, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. That's for them to test. So I do advise you to test your stuff. I do advise you to do it. Test as much as you possibly can, because you don't want to end up in a situation where you lose your business and all the hard work you put in. So I'm removing it off eBay. It does not need to be there at all, period. I want to show you a couple things just before I leave, because I have to go right now, go do my other installment real quick. Let's see what you're doing on. I don't know if I can spell my name correctly on this one. I think I was upset because, you know, going to other places and watching them get their people their standing ovation and then going back to an email full of people calling me clown and nigger and freaking all these awful names for something I didn't even do. All I tried to do is just build a better business, and that's it. But it hurt me. It bothered me. And you want to know, gentlemen, did you hurt me? You did. You did hurt me. Did you make me give up? I'm not giving up. I'm not that type of person. I can't give up. But you did hurt me. It did hurt. It was when you contacted the building here. I liked this place. It was a very nice place for me to work at. And I'm not being removed from here. The owner of this place is Christian. You have a habit of attacking Christians. So he stood by my side. He basically made sure at the end of the day that through all the stuff I was going through, that he did not give up on me. And you contacted people in this building. These people don't do anything. They're nice people. Why would you contact people in the building to be nasty with them, Williams? Williams was contacting people in the building. And also, too, all the letters we got here, the guy who calls himself PC, so he was attacking people in the building. Fernando was attacking people in the building. So you can get them to complain to him to remove me out of the building. God saw all that. Mind you, everything you did against me will not go unjustified. The Lord will make sure that you will pay for your time here on this land. And when the time comes, if you have not picked up your cross and followed Jesus, all your sins will be punished. You'll be punished for your sins. You know, at the end of the day, we are blessed that God has given us that opportunity. But if you think at the end of the day, this is me, and Jamie will see it as, oh, this is just him crying and whining. No, man, it's me as a man. At the end of the day, you attacked my company. I didn't do anything to you at all, period. I did what I had to do to defend my business. I didn't go out and attack your family members. I didn't go out and dox their addresses. I mean, you sent me an address, 317 Kern. That's the address we sent the court papers to. I'm thinking that's your real address. And then you want to sit there and say your address was doxed. You made your address public domain. Anyone can find you. You doxed yourself. But you want to blame me for it. This isn't a man that's sitting there crying about what's. If I did the same thing right now, I know people at the end of the day. I can easily pick up a phone and say, hey, I need you to find her information. I need to do this. I can easily put a smear campaign on you. Very easy. MIT. I know a bunch of people that are just like me, much more advanced than what I am. And I can easily say, hey, knock them out. And they'd be done. But I don't do that type of stuff because you know why, Fernando? I have to answer to God for everything that I do. And I do want to inherit the kingdom of heaven. It's very important that I do. I want to see God. So with that being said, I'm not doing it. I've already done that already. I've played Satan's game already. I'm never doing that again. That was an ordeal I will never forget as long as I live. Let's see. Not doing it ever again. So, you know, with that being said, you know, I don't go down that road. And if I do that, that means I show anger. And if I show anger, that means I entertain Satan. And Satan's not getting back in my life ever again. Let me see better if I talk it in there. Digital One, Crystal Screen Paint, Facebook, Europe. I think it's Europe. I'm not sure. Hey, you didn't even put what I asked in there. Digital One, Crystal Screen Paint, Facebook, Europe. I wonder if it's still there. Oh, it's still there. There it is, right there. I like to back up what I say on camera. I don't like to say things that are not true. But yeah, my company got a contract a long time ago. It's still there. Wow, it's still there. So this right here is where I had my Digital Crystal Screen Paint. They changed it over to Digital Crystal Paint Europe. But the full name of my company was Digital One Crystal Screen Paint. And in here, you will see pictures and stuff. This is my product overseas. These are people that were involved in it. So there is a new logo. When they changed my logo out to theirs. This right here is one of the background scenes they were using to display our product. That's my screen right there. my gray screen paint that's overseas in a showroom. There's another one right there in the showroom. Notice the ash gray around it. See? My screen went through the same thing too. But so for that era at this particular time, this was normal. There's mine in a school. It's in a classroom. There's another one right here. They did a luxury showroom. My screen was in that one too. And this is one of the spokespeople that was talking about our products right there. That's my product. See how washed out my screen looks right there? Because at that particular time, this was normal. Now today, with all the stuff we have today, that should not be happening. It should be looking like this. But anyway, yeah, that's my whole. And they had my paint over there. The guy was doing the whole spokes and stuff. My friend was laughing about, why is there so many buttons? But yeah, these are nice people. Right here, they were nice people at one point. They first started off. And there's another showroom with my stuff in there. There's another showroom. And then that right there, this is where we had an argument. This is where we had an argument. I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to show you which one we had the argument over. That one is normal. I'm not proud with that because it would do that. You have to be, it's great paint. It had limitations to it. So there we are, right here. This is my screen paint right here. And this is one of the investors on the stage right here with other investors in the room talking about our products. And this is the area they're showing me pictures. Like this is where we're going to be setting up for the investors. And this is where our product is going to be here. That's our product right there. And there's another one they did. It's a customized frame they did for our screen in this demonstration. There's the screen without it. That's the color of the screen paint. And there's another one in the boardroom. Now usually, like I said, they would cut all the lights off and they would show the presentation. And then they would basically go in and they would turn the lights back on when they're reading through the paperwork. That's usually how everything would go in the boardroom. Now you see me downstairs in the conference room and I have all the lights on and I'm operating on these really cheap projectors. There you go. See, I learned from my technology. I learned to advance my technology down through time. Now, this is another one they have on the outdoor door. We're going to do inflatable screens. I mean, like I said, these people had money. They had the money to do it. They spent a lot of money, but their intentions was to take it from me. Well, not to see me have it, take it from me. Digimon crystal screen paint, high def, 3.6 4K, and with BenQ. So, yeah, this is the one I told you. This is one of my beta testers. He's the one testing the black stuff. I told you, the conflict we had back and forth, the black technology, yeah, we had them post directly to their site. Because I was very upset that these people came over with the intention to try to say they were trying to work with me when they were trying to take from me. So we had the beta testers hit their site. So the beta testers showed their investment, a product called Digital One 4K 4.4 black. It was a black screen. And they did it on a 700 lumen LED projector. And that's the screen right there. That's one of my beta testers that came in there. So, of course, we wanted their investors to see it at the end of the day. Because they contacted us, what's this black product you're working on? Because I didn't tell them anything about it. Of course I didn't tell them anything about it. Tim Monacree was one of the guys who was actually helping us out. These videos were pulled. I had them pull all their videos off their account. So that's when they contacted us. It wasn't the product we're working on. It has nothing to do with you, so and so and so. And then they became obsessed because now they wanted the new stuff, and their investors were pulling out because they wanted the darker technology. And this is when you guys come in and say, hey, he said, no, I know this stuff. I literally took out my own company to build a darker technology to be able to deal with individuals that were trying to take from me. So knowing this, I think I would know that the gray screen survival rate would actually be quite poor if it's going against darker technology. Oh, here we go, right here. This is what we got upset about. This is a meeting that we didn't even know about. So they had a whole meeting down there. They had a whole gift bags and all this stuff, giving out people stuff. Now imagine you sitting here, and you took you years to develop. God bless you with this technology. And you're watching this. You're like, what's this? And they go, oh, that's a little party we had. No, it wasn't a party. These are all investors. For them, not for us. That's when I said, okay, that's it. Wipe it. And that's when I went in, blocked all communications, and started developing the new technology. And that's right around the time we bumped into Diamond. We're trying to figure out what to develop against them, but Diamond Technology is responsible for our black technology. Because if it wasn't for me seeing a darker screen, I don't think I would have went in that direction. I think I would have just kept on going with great products at the end of the day. That's what I would have stuck to. On their toasting to their money, which is actually our product. This is the reason why I learned a valuable lesson in this ordeal. I learned a valuable lesson about doing business with big companies. Because at the end of the day, you have to watch them. I'm not saying all of them, but still, the smart thing to do is watch all of them. They can say they have good intentions, but in the back of my mind, I pray on all of it. Because even though at the end of the day, each one of these individuals, you might not be able to read them that well, but through God's eyes and through the Holy Spirit, I can see the wolf in sheep's clothing. I can see you. And when the Lord tells me to walk away, I walk away. I don't care how much money's involved. I walk away from the whole thing. Because I've had experience in the field, and I know the nightmare it brings with you when you trust people at the end of the day whose intentions are not good. That's my screen sitting behind there. My screen while they're toasting. And send him a few trinkets, some a little money in his pocket, and that'll keep him off our back while we do what we need to do. Not realizing that we can engineer this stuff. So they understood the riddle. Crystal clear. And the new technology, the Onyx took them out, took everything out. The investors didn't want to touch it. They pulled out. They lost a lot of money in the process. That shows people in business that we do business with in the day that we're not, just because I may not wear a three-piece, a nice suit or fancy watch, none of that stuff, you know what I mean? I wear some cargos and some camouflage and some boots. Don't take me at the end of the day of being an idiot. Don't think at the end of the day, I don't know what I'm doing. My Lord is the one who guides me and gives me infinity knowledge on everything that I need to do. I'm very well educated in the field. My Lord gave me that blessing. So I know very well what I'm doing. I know how to handle my situation because I go before God on everything. Look at this, we're here. Yep, that's us. But anyway, I got to grade go. I got something I got to do. It's very important today. Hope you enjoy. Thank you for your time, and God bless.